G'day, my name is Joel Rasmussen from Fight News Australia, and today I'm joined by the number one flyweight in Australia, Stephen Erceg. Steve, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I wanted to start off right off the bat. It's been over a year since you last stepped into the cage. Your last fight was the 30th of October, 2021, and I wanted to know, how has that year off been for you?
Yeah, it's been a bit frustrating. Obviously, I had something that was coming up that was very exciting in the contender, and obviously that all fell apart. And then, sort of after that, you want to make sure you still stay sharp and you try to get as comfortable in the cage as possible. So I tried to get a fight last year, straight after that, and couldn't get anything there. And then almost, thought for a second or for a while I wasn't going to get anything on this turn either. So it's been frustrating in that respect. But as far as like training and stuff, feel like I've leveled up, gotten better at, well, every facet of my game has improved. So in that respect, it's been good.
Having that bump in the road, as you said, you were so close, that contender shot. How does that affect you? The mentality? Is it just a bump in the road? Is it something that you almost have to recover from?
No, I mean, I've I don't know if you want to call it lucky or unlucky, but I've had quite a few bumps in the road during like my career as it is. So it's like I think it's just something that happens. Like the fight game is unpredictable and to roll with the punches just like you would when you're actually fighting. So uh it's not demotive or it's uh yeah, not something you have to recover from. It's just another thing that you have to deal with as a fighter, I think.
Is it difficult to get yourself to go to training and to push yourself when there's almost that uncertainty in the future?
No, I mean the best part of fighting for me is training, like getting better and trying to become the best athlete I can be. So yeah, there's never been any problem with me trying to be motivated to get to training.
I saw through some social media posts, although there was issues with, getting to the contender, I saw you did get a chance to visit the States. I was
Yes.
wondering, with the training you got over there, does training in the States feel like it levels up your game a lot? How does it differ to training back home?
Um, I didn't feel like it leveled up. Like I got to have different insights in how different uh gyms train and how different athletes think, and I got to like have some cool contacts and stuff like that. But I wholeheartedly believe that the level we have here in even just in Perth, let alone Australia, it's like we have the talent and the coaching that we need to succeed on the big stage. So um, the only thing that I could say really is that going there has highlighted the fact that we're just as competitive as anywhere in the world.
uh, Touching on that, fighting out of Perth, that's exactly where you'll be fighting, in a few short weeks from now. With, there's already a lot of eyes on you. You're meant to be in the contender. There's going to be a lot of eyes. You're a fantastic grappler, incredible jiu-jitsu, but it's kind of an unsaid thing that the UFC likes the knockouts are like that. When going into your next fight, what is that something that plays in your mind at all?
I mean, I'm always looking to finish. Often, so it's been more of a recent thing that you'll see me shoot and take people down. Often, what used to happen was I'd beat them up on the feet, they'd shoot, and I'd finish them on the ground because they didn't want to be on the feet anymore. So I think more importantly is that I'm looking for the finish, and I'm going to finish them in whichever aspect they feel most comfortable getting finished in, if that makes sense. So if he wants to stay on the feet and get knocked out, that's his business. If he wants to shoot and get choked, that's it's up to him.
Five stoppages in your professional career, four by sub. Are you specifically a fan of grappling?
No, I'm a fan of MMA, so I'm a fan of striking just as much as I am of grappling. Just again, it seems like I'll start my work on the feet and then uh, either I'll take them down or they look to shoot themselves and I'll finish them there. Like I'm trying to be as complete as possible. No stone will be left unturned.
A lot of early finishes in your career, a lot of the first and second round, a few finishes in the third. Once in your professional career, you've gone the distance. What was
Yeah.
that like going the distance? Did it change any perspectives or anything? Do you train to go the distance every time?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think you have to be pretty naive to think you're going to knock everybody out in the first round. Like obviously you want to do that, but if you're not training for 3 or 5 rounds, to make sure that you're fit enough to do that, I don't think you're going to go very far in this sport. So I'm always training worst case scenario. I'm training off my back. I'm training late stage defense in submissions. I'm training. I'm exhausted and a fresh guy comes in. I'm trying to be as good as possible in every moment. So if that means last minute of the last round, I have to put on some pressure. That's what I'll be doing.
You've had fights at both flyweight and at bantamweight. I was just wondering, what are your thoughts at performing at both of those weight classes?
I'm definitely more naturally a flyweight. I don't think I'm a overly big flyweight. I like So going to bantamweight, I'm giving up quite a bit of size. I do it because I need fights and I want to prove that I'm the best. But yeah, ideally I'll be at flyweight, and then one day in my career I hope to move to bantamweight once I've achieved all my flyweight goals. Move to bantamweight, put on a little bit of size, and like make a real run there. But yeah, ideally if I can find flyweight fights at the moment, that's what I'll be looking for.
Is it a world of difference when you step in there at bantamweight as compared to flyweight?
It's not a world of difference. It's just like technically I'm good enough to compete at bantamweight, but I am giving up a little bit of strength. I am giving up a little bit of size. So just little positions that I would have won more comfortably at flyweight, I have to work a little bit harder for. Um, but yeah, as I said, if I wasn't technically proficient, I wouldn't be able to compete at bantamweight at all. So
I've seen through hashtags on your social media, as well as a few t-shirts I've seen going around, the phrase "flyweights are friends, not food."
yeah.
I
Yes.
was wondering if you could kind of take me through where that phrase came from.
I don't know, just talking trash with my coach and my dad and all that sort of stuff, and we're trying to think of different slogans because I don't know, just yes, come up with different ideas. And yeah, I like that one. Being a small guy, it's fish are friends, not food, from Finding Nemo, and like flyweights are friends. I just thought it was quite comical, and yeah, it would be cool to have little guys wearing the shirt, and then it'd be probably even funnier having big guys wearing the shirts just to remind them.
So those shirts are available just through your social media?
At the moment, I'm actually out of shirts, so I have to do another batch. But yeah, hopefully I'll be getting them out again for sure.
Too successful of a business.
Yeah,
Suffering
exactly.
from success. Uh,
Yeah,
do you think, as you said, as a smaller guy at the flyweight and bantamweight level, do you think that is what assists you to be such a technical fighter?
yeah, of course. I think being a smaller person, there's lots of people that are going to be competitive just because they're bigger. So I have to be technical. Like I have the advantage of being able to work on those technical things because I'm being exposed more often. Whereas, like for a heavyweight, it's very hard to find another heavyweight that's going to give you a challenge. If like so, they don't have to work technically as much because of the stuff they're doing incorrectly are still working. Whereas I don't have that. I don't have that option. I have to make sure everything's correct. Otherwise, I come up against a light heavyweight or a welterweight, and I'm going to get smashed over and over again. So I need to figure out why that's happening.
I've seen in other interviews some of the fighters that you looked up to before you got interested into the sport. And
Yeah.
the big one that stood out to me was like Brock Lesnar, the likes of Brock Lesnar. And that's obviously heavier guy.
Yes.
And although the lighter weight classes have been around for a few years, do you think almost now the lighter weight classes are getting that shine because the heavier ones have been around longer and now flyweight, bantamweight are kind of coming into their own?
I think there's more parity, I guess, at some of the smaller weight classes. Like you look at bantamweight in the UFC and you have just like a killer's row, like 10, 12, 15 guys that are all super competitive. And the same at featherweight. Although obviously Volk's sort of put his stamp on that division now, and lightweight and all that sort of stuff. Like there's just so many good guys. Whereas at like heavyweight, you really had Francis and Cyril Gahn, and only now you're getting, and Stipe, obviously. There weren't that many like really competitive good guys. And I think that's uh, more important when people are getting excited for watching fights. You need competition, not just one guy at the top leagues above everybody. And then, yeah, putting that with like lighter guys are more technical. So if just watching some of those scrambles is just so exciting.
I would hate to at all seem like I would hate to encourage you to maybe look past this next fight in any way. But just
Yep.
talking about looking into the UFC with people who came through last season of Contender Series, a name that stood out to me was Shannon Ross, someone that you hold a victory over.
Yep.
And to see him make it to the UFC, does that push you more to go, I have beaten this guy and he's at this level, so I know I can get there?
Yeah, it doesn't make me push more, but like for sure, like you get an insight into like the level of the competition. So I'm very excited to watch him at UFC Perth and see how he does against another guy in the UFC and like see his journey, because you can sort of like it's relatable. You know exactly how I did against him and then how he's doing against other people. It's like what would my skill set look like against the person he's fighting. So yeah, I'm not going to push any harder. I'm pushing as hard as I can, but it's good information to have.
Absolutely. I'll leave you with one more question. Thank you very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Yet again, something I saw from another interview, indirectly, professional wrestling in an indirect way brought you to mixed
Yeah.
martial arts. We've
Yes.
seen Izzy make the walkout against Jared Cannonier with the Undertaker's theme, and we've seen fellow Australian Jessica Rose Clark walk out to Shawn Michaels' "Sexy Boy." At Eternal Perth, could we maybe see a professional wrestling style entrance from you?
There's almost a 0% chance of that happening. But
Ah,
if it were to happen, it'd definitely be Stone Cold Steve Austin's walkout song. That's in my mind the most iconic. But no,
I have to agree with you.
yeah, I definitely want. I might hit a Stone Cold Stunner or something. That's more likely than me walking out to his song.
That would be iconic. Come out in the vest. It would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
that would be very cool.
never say never.
Yes, you're a believer, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. Steve, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Best of luck with the rest of your camp. I will be at attendance at Eternal Perth. So I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing you go out there and put on a fantastic performance. Luck to you and everyone at the camp. And thank you so much for speaking with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Of course. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Awesome. Enjoy.